So I heard that Diana had a cool mug, so I had to share my mug today. My Wonder Woman mug.
Josh, do you remember my mug with the Post Planner sticker on it? And you busted me that it was a sticker. So.
You gonna show us?
No, I had a black coffee mug with a Post Planner sticker on it, trying to make it look for real. And you were like, "Why'd you put a sticker on a mug?"
Yeah, well, it was a makeshift mug. Ooh, yours is way cooler. I love it.
Yeah, man.
All right. So we ready to go?
I don't know what that means. If someone knows what that means, let me know.
Oh, what your mug means? Yeah. I thought maybe it was something special.
It is. It must be. It must be something about social media engagement or something.
That's exactly what it is, because everything relates back to that in our world. Somehow, some way. All right, guys. So let's kick it off. We're here to talk today about how to grow a thriving Facebook page in 30 days. I'm Rebecca Radiz, and I am joined by the lovely Diana Adams at Adams Consulting and Joshua Parkinson at Yes There. Getting those fingers ready for some typing?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to talk about, like I said, how to grow a thriving Facebook page in 30 days. And we have just completed our 30-day Facebook challenge. I guess the first 30 days because it's ongoing. And we have had so much fun talking with our community, talking about just everything they've been working through over these 30 days. And we wanted to bring some of the biggest takeaways, some of the biggest success stories that we've heard from the community over the last 30 days, and really dive deep into what the 30-day challenge is all about, kind of give you a behind the scenes and maybe a sneak peek into all of the content that you're going to get when you decide to join us on that 30-day journey to a better Facebook page. And this is for anybody, whether you're just starting a Facebook page, whether you've had one for years and you're just kind of struggling and thinking, I need to scratch the entire thing, which we've heard a lot of that, right?
Yes, we have. Yes.
Yeah. And in fact, you said the same exact thing. You're like, I've never really put a lot of time into my Facebook page.
Exactly. Boy, have I learned a lot during this past 30 days.
Yeah, I know you have a lot that you're going to share with us as well. So exciting. It's exciting stuff. And, just to give a little behind or some background of the 30-day challenge for those of you that haven't been a part of it, for those of you that haven't even heard of it up until today, it's basically 30 days worth of tips, video tutorials. We've got assignments within there that take you from A to Z, every step of what it takes to build a thriving Facebook page. And all of this comes from, and Josh, you're going to talk a lot about this today, what we have proven time and time again within our own page works. And it doesn't just work kind of so-so, okay? It works like crazy when you're consistent within your strategies. And so we take you through that, really those foundational pieces of step 1, step 2, step 3 of how do you get from where you are to where you really want to be with your Facebook marketing. And the beautiful part about it is it's not as hard or convoluted as I think a lot of people want to make it. And we really hold your hand through that entire process. So this,
the challenge makes it easy. Right?
Yeah,
it's all broken down. Every day you get a tip. Okay, now go in and do this. Now go. So it's not so overwhelming, because normally it's like, there's so much to do. Where do I start? It's not like that.
Exactly.
Take it step by step by step. And then at the end of 30 days, you look at your page and you're like, wow, it's like completely transformed.
Yeah. Well, and as of today, just in 30 days, we've put 1,700 people through the challenge. So we have, I know, a lot of amazing feedback and stories and just highlights really some of our takeaways as well, because I know you, like you said, had a lot of aha moments throughout the challenge. Just to share exactly what that experience is. And then, like I said, give a little bit more insight into really where all of these ideas came from. And that's where, Josh, I'm looking forward to hearing you talk about how we're running our page, how we manage it on a day-to-day, and really what the thought process is behind some of our content, behind, those beginning days where we started, when you and Scott Ayers were, just two men running a Facebook page.
Yep. I'm ready.
When Scott talks about that, I laugh every time.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get him to hop in. We'll pull him away from customer support for a little bit and get him to hop in on the Blab and share some of his stories as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So first of all, let's start by talking about really that first foundational piece, which is creating a page worth visiting. And I think a lot of people tend to skip some of those first steps when they're first starting. They just want to get to the marketing of their business. They just want to jump ahead, and they forget some of the optimization that goes into just getting started and really allowing people to connect with you, find you, know what you're all about. So maybe, Diana, you could kick us off talking about optimizing your profile and why that's so important.
Oh, it's so important. And I think when a lot of people skip those steps, they're probably thinking, oh, I'll go back and do it later. Right? They're thinking, oh, well, like you said, I want to get to the good stuff. I'll go back to that. We actually had somebody named Roberta who sent in some feedback on this, which I thought was really interesting because, we talk about the beginning steps and optimizing your page. We're talking about branding your cover photo, filling out your bio, coming up with your tagline. We go through these step by step in our 30-day challenge. And Roberta sent us a message, and she said, sometimes you can feel uncomfortable talking about yourself and put it off. I checked other pages and discovered most people's bio said very little. My first task in the challenge was to make this right to the best of my ability. I will consider adding and making changes as I go along. Now I realize how important it is. And yeah, it's so important because you want to present yourself in the best, most approachable light to your potential customers. So when they come to your page and they're looking at, they're looking at your bio. Do you have your 150-word bio filled out? Do you have your 300-word bio fill out? Does it talk about, how you help your customers? And Rebecca, I even wrote down a note of something that you had said once that really stuck with me. You said it's not about showcasing you, it's about presenting yourself in the best light to customers. And so think about attracting your perfect audience. Who's your perfect customer? And go through those basic steps to make sure you're attracting those people.
Yeah, well, and Josh, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. That's always evolving, right? Who your perfect customer is when you first start might not be your perfect customer today. And we just went through this process last year at Post Planner, and you've done a lot of speaking on this subject about who is that person that you're looking to attract? And obviously within your business is going to translate over to Facebook. How do you use Facebook to find that perfect customer? And how did you guys go about that when you first started the Facebook page?
Well, I don't know if we had any real sophisticated idea about it back then. We had a vague idea about who our customers were, but I don't think we were very precise or sophisticated about it. But as you mentioned last year, and I think this is a good thing to think about, especially when you're writing your bio and you're thinking about a tagline and these kind of things, we moved over and we really decided to stop thinking about who exactly is our customer in terms of like their gender and their demographics and that kind of stuff. And we decided to concentrate on, basically what kind of job they're hiring our product to do. So, I mean, in a sense, you can categorize people as people who need that job to get done. So we're offering a product or service as a business, and we're looking for the kind of people who, need to get the job done that we offer. For Post Planner, that job is finding amazing content to post on social media and publishing it to social media. So we're really looking for people, whether they be, whatever demographic they're in, whatever age, whatever gender, whatever location they're in. We don't really care. What we care about is that they need to get that job done. So I would encourage all of you guys to think that in that way. And in fact, I just wrote a big blog post on that. Maybe Leanne,
I'm going to drop it in. I'll grab it right now real quick and drop it in.
Throw that in. And, start to think about, instead of, the tradition in marketing, conventional wisdom is that you have to, identify your typical customer down to, exactly what those dimensions I mentioned, what gender they are, how much money they make, whether they have kids or not, these kind of things. You typically see this as a customer persona. Everyone's probably heard that term. I would strongly encourage you to move away from that and really start thinking about what it is that people are hiring you to do, what it is that people are hiring your service or hiring your product to do for them. Right? And this is called the Jobs to Be Done framework. And you can check out that blog post that I wrote about this. But this is perfect for a tagline or a bio, because you can mention that it's you should really highlight that job, because that's really why people are going to end up buying from you. So, and it's kind of a perfect little venue or little place to put it in a bio or in your tagline. What it is exactly, how exactly you help people make progress against with the problem that they're having, and that's really all about the job. So,
yeah, it's a complete shift away from the marketing of old, like you said, and just looking at people as that persona, as opposed to what's the job that we can perform. And for us as a company, it changed everything. It changed how we market. It changed the content we create. It changed everything fundamentally within the company. And it's as we say all the time, a radical shift. Mm-hmm. But it's to me, it's mind blowing to see where we were and where we are now. And that would be my hope for just everybody that's watching today, but going through the Facebook 30-day challenge, is that you can finally grasp that idea of who is that person that you're trying to help and what job are they hiring you to perform. And once you start to sit down and we walk people through the process of really figuring out all the answers to all of these questions that we're talking about right now. And I would be willing to bet that there's a huge majority of business owners, entrepreneurs that have never taken the time to go through this process. So if you only get through that one day in the 30-day challenge, you're going to walk away with a wealth of just information for your business, not just, and that's really this whole 30-day challenge. It can be business changing, not just Facebook changing. Exactly. And this is one of the biggest pieces that gets me, I get a little fired up over it. I get so excited because I think it's that light bulb moment for so many people where you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this is the exact person I was trying to speak to before, and it's the exact wrong person. And no wonder my engagement is down, or my content just doesn't resonate with my audience. There's so many aha moments within just that one simple process. I say simple. It's definitely one of those you got to sit down. We had Deborah Trapin on here a few weeks ago, and she always jokes it's one of those moments where you sit down with your cup of coffee and then you get your glass of wine, because you're going to need both at one moment or the other.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but it's a fun process to walk through. And it's one of those critical pieces that is very easily overlooked. And what it does, my next point I wanted us to talk about is creating differentiation. And of course, that's a word that's thrown around a lot on social media, online these days of, yeah, how do I set my business apart? How do I make my business appear different from, my competitors? And how do I attract people to my Facebook page when maybe there's so many, cookie cutter marketers out there? And maybe both of you could talk about that too. In how do you create something a little bit more unique or different than what's already out there in the market?
I would say you need to basically create your own category. In every kind of category, there's only one or two or maybe sometimes three players that people can really recognize and remember. So you don't want to be number 3. You don't want to be number 4. It's okay to be number 2. The number 2s do great. Pepsi does great, right? And you can probably think of other industries. But, once you're in that range where you're trying to compete on the same terms as the number 1, number 2, number 3 in your industry, then it's kind of a real steep uphill battle. And that's when you really want to just create a whole new category for yourself. Redefine exactly the category you're in instead of trying to compete with everybody who's already in one category where you are right now. So, that's my best advice for differentiation. Try not to just differentiate yourself from your top competitors along their, same, modes of differentiation. Just create a whole new category for yourself.
I love that advice. That's so good.
For example, we could compete with, the big players in our space are Hootsuite, obviously, Buffer. Those are kind of the number 1 and number 2 in our space. And we could compete with them along the dimensions of social publishing. And I think a lot of our competitors do that. But, what we'd rather do is compete along the lines of content and engagement. And that's where we're trying to define a whole new category that we want to be associated with and dominate. There's a great book, I think it's Reese and Trout, if I'm remembering correctly. I can grab it in a bit, but it's called the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. It's an amazing book. It's 22 very simple laws. And one of them is that, right? If you're not number 1 or number 2, then create a new category. And anyway, I highly recommend that book.
It is Al Reese and Jack Trout. I'll drop, which oddly enough was my grandfather's name, but not him that wrote that book. Yeah, no, I've read it. In fact, I've got it through Audible as well. And you had mentioned it, and I'm like, I got to listen to that again. I started listening back to it. So many great nuggets throughout that.
Solid. And one of the great ones I just remembered is that you want to be you want to have one word. You want to own one word or one little phrase, right? And, and that's really kind of what a category is to a certain degree. It's like a phrase or word. And we don't really want to compete on the level of social media management, for example, right? I'm just giving you an example of our business. We want to compete on a different dimension. We want to own the word engagement, for example. That's what when people think of Post Planner, they think of engagement and content. So in your business, you should think, okay, what is the phrase or word of my category that the typical industry that I'm supposedly in, and then think about, okay, I can't own that word because my big competitors already own that word. How do I let's create another word, another phrase, and own that, have that be mine. And you'll do a lot better.
Yeah.
And then that will lead you to have, this great bio and tagline that will make it much easier for you. Do that along with, figure out what your job is. And those things are going to be tied together with the job that your people are hiring you for and that word that you're going to dominate. tie those together or write an awesome tagline, you're going to be golden.
Well, and all of that needs to happen before you ever get to the branding moment too. I think too many people, it's the whole idea of cart before the horse. You know, you're trying to brand your business, and yet you haven't even figured out what your business is all about. And that whole, you know, who you help, what we've already talked about, and you're wondering why you're struggling to identify what your brand looks and feels like. So there's definitely that piece too. It's knowing what you've got to work through. And some of that is that tough stuff, not so easy stuff. Mm-hmm. But nobody said that, you know, running a business was easy.
Yeah. A lot of it starts with, you know, the number one thing that you should be doing is talking to your customers, right? Talking to your customers, getting their vocabulary, how they think about you, what jobs are they hiring you to do, your product to do. In the end, it's not like your decision to a certain degree. Like, you know, it's your customers who have the problem, and you're there for them to solve it. It's the customers who need to hire for the job, and you're the one who creates the product or service that gets that job done. So, you know, the first thing, the very most important thing you can do is talk to your customers, and everything else will flow from that. Mm. Just like you said, no, don't put the cart in front of the horse, right? The customer comes first. The need that they have, the problem that they have comes first. Figure that out, and then you can just decide whether you're in the right business or not. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you're in the wrong. You have the wrong word, right? Maybe you're in the wrong industry, or maybe you aren't. But it all should flow from that customer and their problem.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps that up. Because it's so right on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So the next point, and then I want to pull in Jeff C from. He's got the Manly Pinterest show, and then also works with Social Media Examiner, and just does an amazing job with video. I thought he could talk a little bit about that, but. I want to talk first about focusing on what you post, because once you've got that foundation set up, obviously the next step is, well, you need to get people over there, get them engaged, and you need to hang on to them, retain those fans that you're earning over on Facebook. And I was hoping maybe we could get Scott Ayers over here, but he must be busy over in support. Just talking about, some of where you guys started with the Post Planner page and determining what that perfect mix was between all of the different types of content. And right now, and I know we teased this a little bit, I think last week, but we've got a case study with Simply Measured coming out the first week of April. And photos within our Post Planner page, personally, photos just dominated for us in our page growth. And has that always been the case, Josh? From the get-go, day one of the Post Planner page, have you always seen photos really be at the top of the pile as far as content is concerned?
Yeah, I think so. Even back in the day. By the way, welcome, Jeff. Good to see you, dude.
Hey, thanks.
In the early days, I'm talking like 2011, 2012, we would do kind of what everyone else does is we would kind of randomly find stuff and think like an image, for example, a meme that we thought was funny that we saw was doing well on another page, and we'd post that to our page, and then it would often do well. And that really was the germ that grew into the whole feature and our whole content offering, this idea that you see what's working on other pages, get data that's associated with it, think about social media posts as experiments with results and data, and then, try to repeat the very most successful experiments. Now, in the end, you got to back up and you got to think about really what the whole point of social media is. And for a business, pretty much all it is getting distribution for your website, your message, your products and services. And really, that really comes back to most businesses. They're just trying to get people to go back to their website, read their blog posts, see a call to action, and then take action and eventually become a customer. So, I mean, that really drives everything. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, the job that your businesses perform for customers. So it all flows from that. Now, the question then becomes, how do you get distribution? What's the best way and most economical way to get distribution for your website on social media? And that is to publish. Of course, you want to publish links going back to your website. But then you ask the question, okay, what kind of links? Which kind of links are going to get the most clicks? And then which kind of links will drive the people to click that I want to be on my website? In other words, the people who need to get the job done that my service provides, right? You got to think about all those things. And, the thing that works like, clockwork are blog posts, right? Blog posts. You write content that you give away value and advice for free. And hopefully if you're doing it, the smart way, these blog posts are about things that they are connected to the jobs that your product or service does. Right. So when someone sees a post of yours on social media and they click it, they're thinking, oh, this looks like valuable information for me. I need to know this because it's related to something that I'm trying to do. And then when I get to that website, I'm like, oh, these guys actually sell a product that's related to this. So maybe this product's going to help me. Right. So that should be right at the beginning of your content marketing strategy. Okay, so you got to share links on social media, and you want them to get as much reach as possible. So that's the next question: how do I get more reach without paying too much money? And then then we go into this whole idea of that you're sharing two types of content. You're sharing content that drives a lot of engagement, and you're sharing content that gets people back to your website. And I like to refer to that as chum and bait. I think of it in terms of this. Fishing metaphor. You're out on the boat. You have all these fans around you, so you want to get them you want to throw out the chum, which is the engaging stuff, the videos, the photos, the text questions, the GIFs, all those kind of things that get people clicking, get people eating as the fish. And then that's when, in between all that chum, you're dropping in those baited hooks, right? Which are those blog posts, links going back to your website where you can reel those guys in and turn them into customers. So that's what it's all about. And that's really how it's always kind of worked, I think, for us and for everybody else. And, that really drove the way we developed our product. So now I'll shut up.
No. I think that's the stuff I wanted you to talk about, just the insight. Jeff, thank you for jumping in.
Yeah.
Well, the man with the ZZ Top beard.
It's not quite ZZ Top, but it's getting close. Yeah. That was the whole thing when you guys were talking about earlier about finding your niche. When I first came in, I knew I could never compete with like Jay Bear or Michael Stelzner or anything like that. But I saw that there was an opening in Pinterest. One, because I used it and I was getting traffic from it, so I was interested in it already. But also, I taken it from the manly Pinterest tip angle, which is kind of funny and gets people thinking, and so, man, that really opened the doors for me. I mean, it really boosted the stuff I was doing. And so it just really, so companies, and the other thing is, we're always so serious sometimes on social media, how to drive traffic, how to, all this stuff. And I think the people that are succeeding, and also why Post Planner does so well, is there's a lot of humor involved. And I think that companies that can use what I call edutainment, where it's funny or it's entertaining, man, they're going to succeed on social media because it's noisy out there. People don't want to get lectured to anymore. They don't want to sit through an hour-long webinar when somebody's just droning on. They want to have some engagement. And so the companies that figure that out, I think, are really going to succeed.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree with you. And you've done such an amazing job at finding that niche, really identifying that there's this whole group of people that wasn't getting spoken to, with Pinterest, and then really nailing down your brand. Your brand is fairly masculine.
I can never shave now, ever again. My logo. Yeah.
No, you can't.
It's awesome, man. You're like the perfect example of what we were just talking about, right? Like you came in, there were leaders in your industry. You don't want to compete with them on their terms. So you found an opening, you found a niche, and you actually care about it and love it. And you just took it right in that direction, and now you own it. It's great.
And the cool thing too is, we skip over a lot too, is there's a lot of collaboration. I just didn't do this myself. I mean, I asked people. I call them my BBFs, my before beard friends, and Rebecca was actually one of them. Was, and so I would follow her, and I was asking her questions. I did some video for her and Peg. I mean, so it's a collaboration effort. It's not something that I just built this thing myself. I mean, I had people behind me helping me out, asking them, "Hey, is this stupid? Does this make any sense?" And that's something you got to think about as well, as collaborating with people around you that you may think are competitors, but really aren't. I mean, there's enough work to go around for everybody.
Oh, I love that point. Yeah. Well, before the beard, that's awesome. Well, and it's interesting too that you bring up that point, because that's part of what we talk about in the Facebook 30-day challenge, is how to be just a networking superstar in building your alliances. And I think that's another missed point in how do you connect with those people that they're influencers in their own right. They're doing a great job within your space. And rather than looking at them as competition, maybe speak about that a little bit. How did you go about making those connections and reaching out? Because you did a lot of that when you decided to go after this. I know you spent a good amount of time in reaching out to what was your network already, but really going even deeper with those relationships.
Right. My thing was, and you can always tell this when people come up to you, they're happy, they're nice to meet you, and then there's an ask coming right around the corner. They're going to ask you for something as soon as they take a breath. And I never did that. When I would go on blog posts, or Rebecca was having a show or whatever, I'd go there and engage and try to make thoughtful comments, I really wanted to learn. I really wanted to see what was going on. And I think that people ask too soon. I mean, I did a lot of, stuff that promoted myself, but also promoted other people. So I would do video things where I would take quotes from Peg or Rebecca and Michael Stelzner or whatever, and make a video out of it and say, here's some tips that I found helpful. And then naturally they all shared it because it was stuff that they were quoted in, and it also boosted my brand as well. But I never asked. I never said, hey, will you, I would ask them, is it okay if I use this quote? Or, hey, that was really great. Do you mind if but I never did that hard, hey, and those emails that we all get. And so I think there's a lot of giving that has to be done first before you really do the ask. I mean, everybody here has paid their dues. There was no easy, everybody started with one follower and one like, everybody started at the beginning. People say a lot of times, oh, I wish I could do Photoshop, and I wish I could do. I didn't know how to do it either. I just did. You just learn and you just do it. And so I think there's a lot of people wanting to take shortcuts, and social media, there really isn't, to have success, there really isn't a lot of shortcuts, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any at all. And that's something obviously we talk about a lot. The giving piece of you have to give with no expectation of getting anything else in return. And it's amazing what comes back to you. And obviously something that we're huge proponents of at Post Planner is leveraging other people's content. So like you were talking about, taking those great quotes. And I remember when you first started doing those, and of course there's so many people that's doing that now, but how flattering is that? How awesome is that when you get tagged in something like that and you're like, wow, that is super cool. I know last year at the online event for Social Media Examiner, I actually had somebody take my entire presentation and hand draw every point for my presentation. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, it's stuff like that.
And you remember those people, though. That's the thing.
Yes, absolutely. You do. And so, like you're talking about, when that ask does come, it's not something that you immediately bristle at or go, seriously? You have no business asking me for that. You've laid that foundation. You've created that relationship, and you've really built something together with, combined efforts. There's just so much power in everything you just said about the giving and the networking too, which, like I said, is something we talk about throughout the entire 30-day challenge, trying to tear down that wall or that thought process of the old school silo I think we all built around ourselves. Oh, I know everything there is to know about Facebook marketing, and I'm going to hang on to it. And I think we've done away with that mentality for the most part. Wouldn't you agree, across social media?
I think so. One of the things you said too is giving without really asking or expecting anything in return. And a lot of people don't do that. And that's the big key. You're going to have a lot of, nobody thanking you for a long time when you first get started. And also you can't just go, I had one person, they took one of my shows and they did the whole transcript and they wrote it out. They sent to me, here's a transcript. I thought you might like it. And then a day later, there was a big ask. That's the thing when I'm talking about, you have to have that attitude of, I'm just giving, I'm just doing for if you like it, fine. If not, no big deal. And there's always going to be those people who are trying to get something for nothing, I think. So the attitude of just not expecting anything in return and building, you were talking about networking. I mean, I don't know we've known each other for like 3 or 4 years. I don't know, how long Google Plus has been around, but it takes a while. I didn't ask, you wouldn't have asked me to come on this show, a week after we met. It's taking time. It's taken, that I'm not going to get on here and, curse uncontrollably or something crazy. There's a relationship built, and there's a lot of that has to happen in social media and in networking. I mean, and that's why live events and doing these blabs and all sorts of things are I think are really important.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I don't think we can talk enough about the relationship building aspects of social media. You're right. We had before the beard, and I guess now we have before the fall of Google Plus. when we all met, and it's awesome to be able to create those connections, then go even further, like, Josh, Peg, the great connector, she put us together, both of us. Jeff, I know she introduced us. And then we were able to meet Josh at Social Media Marketing World, right? For the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then here I am, at Post Planner. So, amazing things evolve out of just taking that first step. And tweeting somebody or, commenting on their content on Facebook. It's truly life-changing. I don't think we can stress that enough. And I think people think, oh, sure, that only happens, if you've got, 300,000 followers or fans on Facebook, and you've got the power to reach people within your newsfeed or this or that. And to your point, Jeff, we all started somewhere. We all started, with one fan and one follower, and it was one conversation at a time.
Exactly. And speaking of I have to go because
you have your show.
Yeah. Hey, great. Thanks for having me on. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for
Love
hopping in.
Post Planner.
Bye.
I'll see you guys later.
Love you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
I love him.
Yeah. You got to love that beard, don't you?
I love him. So, Rebecca, did you know we have Brendan here?
So introduce Brendan.
Brendan was part of our 30-day challenge, and he's mobile right now. Oh, you made it. You don't look mobile.
We
can't
hear you,
hear you. Oh, now we can't hear you.
I'm off-site right now.
There you are.
There.
So I can only be on a little while, but just privileged to be on here and love, Rebecca, awesome to be able to finally talk to you. And just everybody, one of the things that was touched on that I love is this idea of this creating value. and what Post Planner does in sharing value, really a lot of what I've been able to do is sometimes I just consider myself a curator of awesomeness, because
I love that.
I just look at what everybody else is doing. I don't need to recreate the wheel, but I need to be able to find some of those cool nuggets, and I get to share them. And in some ways that's added to my credibility. And then I grew a beard, and it helped.
What is it with beards today?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think somebody, Scott just said that, from one beard to another. No, but Brendan, thank you for hopping in. It's totally our honor to have you here and to have you a part of the 30-day challenge. It's just super cool to be able to hear so many different people, their stories of which particular piece really meant the most to you. And I think that's cool to hear that everything we're talking about here today obviously resonated with you.
Yeah, it's been, I love what Post Planner's done. It's simplified my life too. And, I started out, a lot of my social networking really started out on Twitter, and really started to go through the Twitter. It was just my OCD-ness of trying to figure out, okay, why does Twitter work? Everybody has the question with Twitter. At some point in time when somebody starts Twitter, they're like, what is this?
Right.
How does it work? And so I just started with that and started building from there, and went on to start just looking at how processes work and the psychology of it. I teach public speaking at the local university as well. And so it really was a bridge over saying, what happens in public speaking also has to happen online as well, but just different tools. And so transitioned from there, and it just kept growing and going from different platforms to different platforms and being connected with people. And you said something about this, we all have to start somewhere. We all have to start making connections. And I can remember the day that, Rebecca, that you accepted my request and you followed me back. I had to go show my wife. I'm like, hey, look at this.
Oh my gosh.
Rebecca!
All right. I'm just, yeah.
How touching. That is so touching, Brendan. And so sweet of you to just pop in like this. I mean, you're amazing, and we just love you to pieces.
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing, because it's that Post Planner and going through that, I have shiny thing syndrome, and so I still and I get sidetracked going through life. Again, just going back to that idea that those that are just watching this, you don't think that you have to recreate the wheel. There's so much good stuff out there that it's overwhelming, and they need people just to go and find the best information and share it with their audience. And it just, amazing things happen. I don't have time to do a lot of writing and blogging right now, so I just go and just share stuff and add my comments and add a little bit more value and some of my insight to it. And it just does amazing things. And it, locally, it's really affected my standing in the social media community of how I'm looked at. And it's not, I'm just sharing cool stuff. I just find cool stuff and scrub it. So I think that's what happens at Post Planners. You have that platform to do.
Share cool stuff.
You see what's coming next, man. We got some cool stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, super amazing stuff.
I just sent Diana a DM. I'm like, hey, I need some swag, some Post Planner swag, so I can wear.
All right, dude, send me your address.
The shameless.
A shameless ask. No problem. We are happy to get some to you. That's awesome.
Just send me your address and we'll get that to you right away.
I'm going to get hit with a bunch of people here in just a minute, so I'm going to jump off.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brendan. It was awesome talking with you.
Bye.
See you,
Bye.
man.
See you on Twitter. Oh, what a cool guy. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm so glad he was able to hop on.
Yes. Yeah, very cool guy. Yeah. And it's really cool to hear somebody talk about the value that they get from Post Planner. I just love that. It's not just about, finding and posting and planning and all that. The content is wonderful, but then there's a whole nother piece to it, a whole nother side with the training and the ebooks and the infographics and just teaching people how to find their way through that social media jungle.
Well, and that's really what this 30-day challenge is all about, is taking that to the next level of getting hands-on with our community and really showing them what we've done, what were the building blocks to our success, and how do you get from maybe that just getting started place, or that place of frustration of I've been at this for how long and still not seeing any results. And Brendan, I think, said what so many people feel, that shiny object syndrome. You're always hearing something lately with Facebook of, oh, they've changed their algorithm again. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. So many new or changing aspects to Facebook marketing. And so much of what we talk about throughout the 30-day challenge is tried and true. It's not stuff that's going to change tomorrow. It is those foundational pieces. And then we start to ramp up into more accelerated, advanced steps. But it's those first steps, I think, that are critical. And, I know Scott, and I know he was going to try to hop in here, and maybe he can try to jump back because I'd love him to talk about this. Scott was a relationship just king when you guys first started, Josh, and just out there all over Facebook, talking to people and interacting and getting to know people. And you just really can't discount the importance of that.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a lot of work actually to be out there and, be involved in all these, hundreds of conversations, simultaneously. I'm not really very good at that. So it was great to get Scott on board. Somebody who is good at it and enjoys it. It got us a lot of exposure. It got a lot of conversations going around. And now that we have even a bigger team, we got all kinds of people out there talking about us, and it's great.
Scott's
What's
here.
up, Scott?
Hey.
How are y'all?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
We're talking about your favorite subject.
Well, not favorites, not Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. All right, one up. Yeah. So we were just chatting about hey.
Hey, there's the little man.
No, he's not gonna say hi to that.
Too shy.
Sorry. He was bugging me. No, yeah, I heard you
put him on the spot.
Yeah. What were you saying, Rebecca?
Talking about you and the value or the importance of being a superstar networker, and maybe share with us what you did in the beginning to really build up page momentum.
I think it was just not sleeping. That was a part of it. But no.
And there's the honest truth.
Yeah, with Post, when I came on the Post Planner, it was just 4 or 5 of us. And so we kind of did everything. So I was on every social media account. I was one of the first on Google Plus. You heard y'all talking about Google Plus. That was I love being on Google Plus. I hate that it sucks now, but but no, it was all about just connecting with people. And I think, I kind of took I guess for me, I took the concept and the idea and watched Robert Scoble a lot. And, Scoble was kind of everywhere. When people talked about, social media, it was Scoble, because he was the guy that was, he was first to get on any social media account and talk about it. And so I kind of emulated that a little bit and just wanted to be in every conversation, every group. I was constantly just, answering questions, and never like, and I forget his name, bearded guy, long beard.
Jeff.
Jeff. What Jeff was saying, I didn't go after that thinking, okay, I'm going to share your post. I'm going to comment on it or be a part of this expecting anything back. I was just answering people's questions and helping them because for me and for Josh and the rest of the team, it was all about how can we get Post Planner's name out there to people who don't know us. And that was just by me being extremely active in social media and being in all those groups and stuff. And I think it paid off. I think I changed I consider myself the brand evangelist to still Guy Kawasaki's, title for a while, because it was just about being out there and getting the name out there. And there was a time I can remember, and Josh might remember this, when people thought I owned the Post Planner. People would always say, that's your company, isn't it? And I'm like, no, I just work for them. But it's because they kind of recognize me as a guy that was the Post Planner guy.
I could totally
I think that's
see
important.
That. Yeah.
I think that's important for a brand to have somebody like that, or a couple of people like that, who are out there and just, sitting on blabs or sitting, on different conversations just to get your name out there. And it pays off, I think, tremendously. Even on a smaller scale, you can do that. If you're not a big global company, you can still do that.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's figuring out where your time is best spent, obviously where your community is hanging out. But, now that we've got Facebook Live, just so many different opportunities to engage your audience and keep them right there on Facebook with you so they never have to leave. Which is super cool. Obviously, years ago when you first got started, you didn't have all those cool little tools. So there just becomes more and more available to us to where you can entertain, as Jeff talked about, be that edutainer where you can educate, you can entertain, and you can really cultivate the community, which I know you worked so hard at doing, Scott, and it doesn't just happen overnight. It took a while, I would imagine, for us to get to the place where we are today as far as engagement. And it's definitely a commitment to showing up every single day, which we talk about in the 30-day challenge too, and how to get consistent in your efforts.
Yeah, and down the road, you hope it pays off. I mean, we got, a guy like Robert Scoble knows who Post Planner is. Josh and his brother went and helped out with his book signing, and that was part of their plan to, get Post Planner's name out there. And, guys like Joel Comm will wear their Post Planner shirt while they're playing around with Facebook Live. That's the kind of stuff as a brand, you want those guys to trust you. And part of it's just, if you ever read Trust Agents, such a good book, just giving just to give. And then those people will come after you and say, hey, how can I help you out? And that's what you want. You want guys, if I ever showed you my private Facebook messages before I became, was with even Post Planner, all the influencers are messaging me because they knew I was just somebody who's willing to give. And I think that's an important piece. I mean, Diana's that way too. The people she's connected with on Twitter is ridiculous. But she's not asking anything from them. She's helping them. And I think that's really, really important.
Well, and don't you think, though, it's hard as a business not to want to come in and immediately promote on Facebook, not immediately want to kind of shove your product or service down somebody's throat. So, to those businesses that are struggling to figure out where's that happy medium? How do I educate? How do I entertain? What would you say to them, Scott? How do you find that balance?
I think from what our experience, I think it's just you give through. I mean, you market through giving. I mean, look at our blog. I mean, all the stuff we wrote in the blog was free. We gave free content, but our whole goal wasn't just to give a bunch of free content. Our goal was we wanted people on our website. And so I think you just got to figure out your niche on small business. I mean, maybe that's just, you constantly sharing posts from your local area, the other businesses that are part of in your area, or even sometimes giving props to your competitors. I think, there's nothing wrong with that, but balance wise, I mean, it's, I know on my own Facebook page for a small business, when I hard sell, the post goes flat. No one really cares. But I did a contest the other day on the page, and the thing, gave away a free bounce house rental is what I gave away. And that thing blew up, I've got, I think for me blowing up is, 200-300 comments, and likes and a bunch of shares. and it was one of the best posts I've ever had on the page because I wasn't selling anything. Granted, my alternative, I have an alternative motivation to do that because now I can message all those people that commented now because of the way Facebook is. I can, offer them other deals, and I've got 2 or 3 rentals off of that post already, but you've got to give stuff away and not be so salesy. That whole salesy thing, it worked in 2009 on Facebook. It doesn't work today, I don't think.
I don't think traditional sales methods work at all on social media.
No.
It just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, you gotta be human, and I always tell our users too. I mean, you've got to think of whatever you're posting, you got to think of that end user. Don't think of your product. Think about what do they want to see in their news feed. They don't want to see your product all the time. They want to see stuff that makes them feel good, makes them happy, makes them laugh. That's the stuff they're going to share with friends. They're not going to share, hey, here's a picture of the handbag you sell. They're not. You need to post that stuff here and there and mix it in, but that shouldn't be all you post. That's all you post. I mean, you can find big pages out there, have millions of likes from major corporations that are dead now, getting 300 comments on a post with 1 million likes because all they did is sell. They forgot that human side of it. And you look at our page. I mean, we're probably the most human page out there in social media because we're just being real and we're having fun, and I think people appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really it. It's attracting people to your page through your authentic personality and, authentic, transparent. We throw those words around a lot, but I still think they're incredibly important that people feel as if they know you. People feel as if they can just reach out to you. And you guys did that in the beginning too. In sharing who was responding or interacting with people, whether it was Facebook or Twitter, and really putting names behind the brand or the company. And you're right, Scott, no matter the size of your company, you can humanize your business. You can humanize whatever it is that you're trying to sell. And relate to people on a very real level. And your content goes, precedes you in that sense and can tell that story in a far better way than so many times we can. So I think there's just so many different opportunities to connect with your audience, whether it's through content, maybe that's funny, humorous. We've talked a lot about that today. It just all depends on your company and finding your groove. I think it's really what it's all about.
Agreed.
Yeah. And Diana, you've talked a lot about that too, just trying to figure out what's your perfect content mix, what is, your perfect posting plan. There's so much that goes into that. I know when we dive into those details, and we do a lot of that in the 30-day challenge, answering how do you find your perfect content mix, and how do you know how often you should be posting to your Facebook page? And I know we've played around with that as well, just looking at our analytics. So we dive into all of that within the 30-day challenge, because as important as it is to know your audience and know your brand and understand who you're speaking with, it's just as important to constantly test what you're doing and then iterate from that. And maybe Josh, you can talk about that a little bit too, just how there's a constant evolution in, what's working today doesn't mean it's what's working tomorrow. And you can't just look at your analytics once and assume, okay, I'm all good.
You got to constantly evolve. Like I mentioned earlier, think of social media posts as purely as experiments. You're just doing experiments. That's all you're doing. You're putting content out there. You're seeing what the results come in, and then you're trying to replicate the best stuff. Do it again in a different way, and increase performance. That's what it's all about. And you're not going to be able to do that unless you pay attention. Right? You got to pay attention. You can't just post stuff and then just forget about it and just continuously grab content and post it without looking back on what performed well. So yeah, again, it's just all about change your thinking to consider social media posts purely as experiments. Right? You're just throwing something, you're throwing an item out there into the lab, and you're going to get some results from that little experiment, and then you're going to interpret those results, and then you're going to do something different next time, or something similar. That's what it's all about, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Rebecca, I know we're coming up on the hour. 2 things on my list before we go. Number one, I'd really like to read this other little testimonial that somebody sent in. And the other one is we need to talk about our ebook.
Well, yes, and we need to share your sign.
Yes,
we didn't get a chance to let you do the Vanna.
We have a fabulous, free, exclusive, amazing ebook that is going to change your Facebook life. No. But first, can I read this testimonial from Roberta, because it's absolutely just so good and it's so relevant. She wrote. So
Roberta went through the 30-day challenge, or she's going through the 30-day challenge.
She is going through it, and she sent this via email to Leanne, and Leanne sent me a copy on Slack so I could read it today. But it says, I am really impressed with the help and advice I have received since joining Post Planner. I have to admit that although I had heard of the company, I was under the impression that it was only for scheduling posts. The wealth of information available has been unbelievable, and I'm delighted. I have not used the service to its full potential yet, as I'm still in the learning mode. Thanks to everyone there for caring and wanting to help me on the road to success. Hope this is good information for you.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Really touching.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we've got our ebook, which goes alongside the 30-day challenge. So 30 days.
This is the best part of the blab, too, by the way.
I absolutely love this part. And we were supposed
Over to you, Vanna. Yeah.
Oh.
At least 3 times. Woo!
Oh, goodness.
See?
That's a long.
That's a long one today.
It's a big one today. Sorry, guys. We're going to work on shortening these. But everybody, go here, everybody. Go right now.
All right. So bit.ly/FB for Facebook -marketing MKTG, because we shorten it like that, ebook. Yeah, that's not a tough one at all today, Diana.
But we're trying to be smart, you see. Pretending we're smart.
That's right. Well, Leanne, if you could drop that direct link into the chat, that would be totally awesome. But yeah, that's our 30-day free ebook that is free to you, whether you go through the 30-day challenge or not. But I would highly encourage you, because we have barely scratched the surface of all that you're going to get out of the Facebook 30-day challenge. So we would love to see you in the Post Planner community, obviously, but we would love to see you over in the 30-day challenge. So, cool.
I'm laughing at what Ross typed.
Yeah, I think Ross got all of those on that one.
He said, it looks like Korean letters to me. No, I'm sorry, okay? I was in a rush. When
Part of it is in Chinese.
Something Bangkok. I like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We'll shorten that up next time.
Hieroglyphics there.
I was like, whoa, the first time I said it.
Amen drawing.
That's okay. We have fun, right? At least we can laugh about it.
Oh.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap on this week's Lab. We will see you back here, and would love to see you, like I said, in the Facebook 30-day challenge. So make sure you grab that link. If you didn't get it, tweet us at Post Planner. And then, of course, connect with us over on Facebook at Post Planner as well. And connect with all of these guys at Scott Ayers, at Adams Consulting, at Yes Sayer for Josh Parkinson, and me at Rebecca Radice. And then we will see you right back here next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you for coming.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.